Welcome to the deep dive. Today, well, we're doing exactly what it says on the tin, a deep dive. We're looking into the 5 biggest AI news stories hitting the headlines today. That's Wednesday, May 14th, 2025.
What's really unique about this one, this AI Daily Deep Dive, is that the research, the generation, everything,
Yeah,
it was all done by AI.
pretty meta, right? So let's just jump straight in. What's first on the list?
Okay, first up, something really groundbreaking from Google DeepMind. We've got this new AI system, Alphavolve.
Alphavolve.
Yeah.
Right. And the buzz is it's dreaming up algorithms that are, well, better than what human experts have managed.
That's the claim, and it seems pretty solid. What's fascinating is how it works. It takes Gemini's coding abilities and mashes them up with evolutionary algorithms.
So it's like AI evolving solutions, not just following human patterns.
Exactly. It's generating genuinely novel solutions, not just tweaking existing ones. Think of it like natural selection for computer code.
And they've got proof points.
Oh, yeah. Big ones. For instance, they developed a new way to do matrix multiplication. It actually outperforms the Strassen algorithm.
Wait, Strassen? That's been the benchmark for, what, 50 years?
Over 50 years, yeah. So finding a better way, that's huge. It's like rethinking basic math almost.
Okay, that's impressive. What else?
Well, it's not just theoretical maths. They've also created more efficient algorithms for data center task scheduling, optimizing how resources get used.
Which means better performance, less energy, real world stuff.
Definitely. Plus, it's contributing to computer chip design, too, finding algorithms that boost performance and cut down on energy use.
And I heard it's even improving algorithms for LLMs, including Gemini itself.
That's the meta part you mentioned earlier, yeah. It's improving the very tools it's built on.
So how does it actually do this evolution thing?
Well, the basic idea is it generates loads of potential solutions, like a huge population of code snippets, and then it tests them rigorously.
Yeah.
The ones that perform best survive and reproduce, combining elements to create the next generation.
A kind of digital survival of the fittest for algorithms.
Pretty much. And Matej Balog from DeepMind really emphasized this. These aren't just slight improvements. They're demonstrably new and mathematically correct discoveries.
Wow. The implications there seem massive. AI autonomously contributing to science, accelerating innovation.
That's the potential, absolutely. It could change how we approach problems in loads of fields, reducing that reliance on human trial and error, maybe even uncovering things we wouldn't think of.
There's a quote from Josh Ullman at Columbia University, right, about AI systems collaborating with human scientists.
Yeah, he highlighted that perspective. It's not necessarily about replacement, but this powerful new form of collaboration.
Okay, fascinating stuff. Let's pivot now, though, to, well, a bit more of a contentious area, AI regulation. There's an article in the Washington Post raising some alarms.
That's right. Scott Brennan and Zeev Sanderson wrote about a specific plan, a proposal in the House Energy and Commerce Committee's budget bill.
And what's the proposal?
It's pretty significant.
Yeah.
A 10-year freeze, basically. A moratorium on states creating or enforcing their own AI regulations.
10 years. Wow. And Senator Ted Cruz is looking at something similar in the Senate.
And that's what the article says, yes. Similar plans are being floated there, too.
So Brennan and Sanderson's concern is what exactly?
Their core argument is that this federal move would essentially pull the rug out from under existing state-level AI protections.
Because states have been acting, haven't they? While federal regulation is still, developing.
Precisely. They give examples like Colorado, which has rules on algorithmic discrimination in high-risk models, or Tennessee, regulating AI use of artists' likenesses. Wisconsin's got rules about labeling AI in political ads.
And it's not just a few states, right? The article mentioned quite a bit of activity.
Yeah, something like 41 states enacted 107 AI-related laws just last year, often with bipartisan support. So there's definitely momentum at the state level.
So the risk, according to the authors, is creating this regulatory void if the federal moratorium passes.
That's the fear. You remove the state rules, but there's no comprehensive federal framework ready to take its place immediately.
But hang on, isn't there an argument the other way? That having 50 different sets of rules makes it super hard for companies to innovate and operate nationwide. That kind of patchwork could stifle things.
Absolutely, and the authors acknowledge that's a valid concern. Overregulation or just overly complex regulation can definitely hinder innovation. That's a point often raised in these debates.
So what's their counter to that?
They argue that these states are acting like policy laboratories, testing grounds. trying different approaches to see what works, what doesn't.
Ah, so the states figure things out, make the mistakes, find solutions, and that informs better federal policy down the line.
That's the idea. Instead of wiping the slate clean, they're calling for more collaboration. Let states innovate, learn from them, and then build a smarter federal approach based on those real-world experiments.
Okay, a complex debate with valid points on both sides. Let's move to the third story. This one's about AI in drug discovery. Sounds exciting, but maybe complicated.
Very exciting, yeah. But definitely complicated. The potential is huge. You've got major players like Anthropic, DeepMind, OpenAI, all prioritizing this area.
And the predictions are pretty wild, aren't they? I saw Dario Amodei from Anthropic mention something extreme.
He did. He suggested AI could accelerate biological discovery by maybe tenfold, compressing like 50 or even 100 years of progress into just 5 or 10 years.
I mean, imagine that. A century of science in a decade. That would transform medicine.
Totally. But here's the but. While AI might get really good really fast at finding potential drug candidates,
Our system for actually testing those candidates isn't ready for that flood.
that's the crux of it. The article points out that our drug development infrastructure, especially clinical trials, is the big bottleneck. They're expensive, they take a long time.
And AI hasn't really cracked that part yet. It's good at the discovery, less so at the testing phase.
It seems that way. AI is making strides in identifying promising molecules, sure, but applying it effectively to the whole clinical trial process, that's lagging behind.
Why is that phase so much harder to optimize with AI?
Well, think about it. Clinical trials involve so many different groups.
Yeah.
The sponsors funding the trial, the research sites actually conducting it, the patients participating, and they all have slightly different goals and systems.
Right. Lots of moving parts, lots of coordination needed.
Exactly. The article gives examples like maybe a sponsor finds the perfect hospital site based on data, but that hospital just isn't willing or able to take on the trial.
Or a site wants to run a trial, but getting approval takes forever.
Yes, or patients struggle to even find trials they might be eligible for, or share their medical records easily. It's a logistical tangle.
So the need isn't just for AI to find drugs, but to help manage the whole trial process, like an AI coordinator.
Precisely. The article really stresses the need for AI systems that can smooth out communication and coordination between all those stakeholders.
Could you give an example? Like, what would that look like?
Maybe AI agents helping patients understand trial options and consent forms, or assisting doctors in quickly finding relevant trials for their patients, or even helping the sponsors design better, more efficient trial protocols in the first place.
So unlocking AI's potential in finding cures means we also need AI to fix the pipeline for testing them.
That seems to be the message. We need to tackle those clinical trial hurdles to really cash in on the AI discovery boom.
Okay, let's shift perspective again. Story number 4 takes a more philosophical look. John Nosta's piece suggesting AI is a test for us.
Yeah, this one's quite introspective. Nosta looks at our relationship with AI, especially LMs like ChatGPT, and argues it's like holding up a mirror to our own minds.
A mirror. How so?
He suggests it challenges our agency, our critical thinking, because these models seem so knowledgeable, so fluent.
It's easy to just accept what they say, the illusion of understanding he talks about.
Exactly that phrase. He points out that the AI doesn't understand concepts like we do. It's generating responses based on statistical patterns it learned from mountains of text.
He called it cognitive theater, right? The performance of thinking.
Yeah, I like that term. It looks like thinking, sounds like thinking, but it's mimicking patterns, not originating understanding. Yeah. And it's disturbingly good theater sometimes, isn't it?
Definitely. So the risk Nosta sees is this: cognitive offloading. We let the AI do the thinking for us.
That's the danger. We get lazy, basically. We stop questioning, stop analyzing critically, because the AI gives us such plausible-sounding answers so easily. And our own thinking skills might atrophy as a result.
This sounds a bit bleak. Does he offer any way forward?
He does. It's not all doom and gloom. He emphasizes staying intellectually engaged. Don't just passively consume AI output.
Meaning, question it, check its sources, use it more like a collaborator.
Exactly. Treat it as a starting point or a tool to brainstorm with, but maintain your own critical judgment. He even suggests it could be a catalyst for self-reflection.
How so? Self-reflection.
By noticing the patterns in how we interact with AI, maybe we can spot our own thinking patterns, our biases, the shortcuts we take, using AI to understand ourselves better, in a way.
So the test is whether we let it make us complacent or use it to sharpen our own minds.
That's the core idea. Keep that critical engagement alive so AI empowers us instead of, leading us down a path of lazy thinking.
Right. Okay, one final story. This one flips the script a bit. Alina Fersman from Ericsson argues we should ask what we need to do for AI.
Yeah, it's a shift in perspective. Instead of just focusing on what AI applications can do for us, she's saying, hang on, what groundwork do we need to lay for AI to develop safely and beneficially?
A proactive approach. So what does she say we need to do?
She breaks it down into three critical elements: infrastructure, ecosystem, and governance.
Okay, let's take infrastructure first. What does that involve?
It's the nuts and bolts. Robust digital infrastructure, thinking powerful data centers, yes, but
Mhm.
also advanced wearables, sensors, and crucially, super reliable high-speed networks connecting everything.
And edge computing comes into play here too. Processing data closer to the source.
Definitely. She highlights that trend. Edge computing reduces delays, latency, and can help with privacy by keeping data local. But she also makes a really interesting connection to Kahneman's thinking fast and slow.
Oh, how does that relate?
She compares edge computing, the quick local processing, to our fast intuitive thinking, system one. While the heavy lifting, the complex computations done in the central cloud, that's like our slow, deliberate thinking, system two.
Ah, so you need both working together. Edge for speed, cloud for depth.
Precisely. The edge isn't replacing the cloud entirely. You still need that powerful central network for updates, complex analysis, training the models. Like agricultural drones might process sensor data locally, fast thinking, but still need the network for updates or bigger analyses.
Slow thinking.
Makes sense. So robust, adaptable networks are key. What about the ecosystem part?
That's about collaboration. She emphasizes the need for academia, industry, and government to work together closely, sharing knowledge, resources. Open platforms, maybe? Making things more accessible.
Yes, advocating for open platforms and shared resources is a big part of fostering innovation and making sure AI benefits aren't just concentrated in a few places.
And the third pillar was governance.
Right. This is crucial for trust. We need clear policies, regulations, rules of the road, essentially. Things that promote transparency, accountability, and ethics.
Like standards for data privacy, algorithmic fairness, making sure AI isn't biased.
Exactly those things. Robust governance isn't about stifling AI, it's about building the public trust necessary for it to actually flourish and be accepted.
So Fersman's overall message is we need to actively build the world where good AI can thrive.
That's it. Stop being passive consumers or just reacting to AI developments. We need a proactive, collaborative effort to shape its evolution responsibly.
Wow. Okay, so pulling it all together. We've gone from AI literally designing fundamentally new algorithms
To the tricky debates about who gets to regulate it, state versus federal.
and the massive potential in drug discovery, but also the huge bottleneck in actually testing those drugs.
To thinking about how interacting with AI tests our own critical thinking skills.
And finally, the call to action, saying we need to build the right infrastructure, ecosystem, and governance for AI's future. It's quite a sweep.
It really is. It just shows how AI is touching almost everything, from pure science to societal structures to our own minds. And it all feels very interconnected. Which leads to a final thought maybe for you, the listener. Considering all this, the power, the risks, the needs, what does a proactive approach to AI look like for you? How do you engage critically, support responsible development, or simply navigate this rapidly changing landscape? Something to chew on.